Let's be honest, parenting can be messy and hard, but also so rewarding. In this podcast, we'll share all the ups and downs of parenthood, as well as share some of our favorite tips and tricks for parenting using both our experiences and expertise from our professional lives as a speech and language pathologist and teacher, but also our everyday lives as moms, just trying to balance it all. We're so glad you could join us.
Hello, welcome to And Then We Had Kids. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Sheena.
And it's like, I feel like I say this almost every other week or at least every other episode, but like it's crazy how quickly time is going by.
It's almost Christmas.
I mean, yes.
I have done minimal shopping. How about you?
The fun stuff left to do. I have like a handful of little things left. I've done like a good amount and I've probably overspent or overbought for my children. Even though like we have talked about the structure of buying things like something that they need, something that they want, something that they wear, something that they read.
You know what? Nice. We have talked about that also and have not implemented that yet. But this year might be the year because I have not really shopped for my own kids.
I like went into a local toy store. If you're in the northern suburbs, please check out the children's gift shop in Northfield. I just was walking around like I had so much stuff in my hands, like for my kids, for my nieces, for my nephews. And I easily could have just like spent a lot of money, but yeah. And I think I have another weekend in between, like what's coming up and then Christmas. No,
we have one weekend.
Yeah. And we were talking about it today. And I'm in a parent talk class with my little one and the moms were talking about how, like it feels crazy, like the schedule of school and then winter break is like we go up until the 23rd.
Right.
So then it's like really all of a sudden holidays are in your face and it's Christmas, it's Hanukkah, everything is like started and it's
right.
But like you said, there's a lot to do. I love the lead up to the holidays though. I feel like come December 1st, I like the lead up stuff. I like the shopping. I like the wrapping. I like listening to the music. I like watching the movies. I love the decorations outside. I love it.
I do too, except for when I hit like that panic mode of all of the people I still have to get gifts for. Yes. And this year I'm doing some more like creative gifts. I'm making some stuff.
Oh, look at you.
Which has helped. But yeah, I think because the schools go up until like the 22nd or 23rd or whatever, I'm like working right up. And so I feel like I don't have a couple days,
a little bit of leeway. Yeah.
Like to do the last minute shopping.
Yeah. I hear you. But somehow it gets done. Or you do what we sometimes do in my family is you get a virtual Christmas present, which means you get a picture printout of what is to come for you. Not ideal, but it's a backup, shows that you're thinking, got something coming, but not here yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of good stops.
But I do like that reminder of the structure for the kids' gift so you don't kind of overdo it. So I think I might actually, since I haven't done too much shopping for my little ones, I might stick with that.
Go for it. More power to you. You'll be happier. It's nice.
You know who will be happier?
My husband. Do know who will be happy. Yep, your husband. Yeah.
My husband, who is a minimalist, and he lives with the overpacker, the girl who loves retail therapy. I sometimes feel really bad for him.
I mean, he made a choice.
He made a choice.
He made a choice. It is really hard though. So people should know you have been formally, informally banned from purchasing or receiving mugs of any kind or like glassware.
As I'm drinking out of one as we record.
As you're drinking out of something. But as a friend of yours, I find it really difficult to restrain myself from buying you said glassware or a mug
Well,
because there are so many that I see that speak to you that I
I,
feel like
oh, I
Sheena
know.
needs this.
Well, what he doesn't know is that I got another one from my Secret Santa at work today.
Well, that's also what I think is such
But
an easy gift from people
it's really
to
cute, and
give.
it comes with the straw, which I do not have one like
Oh,
that.
you got to keep it. You
Right.
got to keep it. Yeah. There's no returning
Just
that.
don't tell
That's a
him.
gift from the heart. Of course, I'm not going to tell him
He's
unless
going to
he
find out when
listens
he
to this.
listens to this episode because he is a good husband that listens to every episode.
Good.
Sorry,
But yeah, so
honey.
it is funny with stuff like that where I like see things and then I like think of you and I'm like, I cannot
Well, so
contribute to that
part of the problem is
anymore.
my mother is notorious for giving us new mugs and coffee for every birthday and every Christmas. Don't worry, guys. She doesn't listen to this podcast. I don't think she knows how to work the podcast app on her phone. So it is inevitable that my mother will give both of us coffee and mugs for Christmas.
I mean, but it's a solid gift.
To be fair, the
Those
one
are
she
like,
bought me last year, I lost because in my haste of, trying to get to work on time, I set it on the top of my car and then drove off with it.
oh no. So
And it
you need a new one.
flew off somewhere. I don't know where it
Yeah.
is.
Oh, well, I'll have you know that I did not buy you any mugs this year,
Okay.
but I do often see ones that I think you should have in your collection.
I have
But there you
definitely
go.
seen some for you as well. And I'm going to say that I have not purchased you one either for Christmas. However, I'm also not finished Christmas shopping for you. So
There you
there's
go.
still
Never
the
say never for
possibility.
that. Yes. I think about, as I said earlier, I love the lead up to holidays, to events, to things like that. Like we talked about in our previous episode, like I'm a planner, like makes me feel good, brings me calm. I love structure of any kind of like a checklist, a spreadsheet, a to-do list, anything, you name it. And sometimes that means then like the day of things, I feel a little bit of this sense of like, it's not like disappointment. That's too big of a word, but it feels like I'm just not able to like be in the moment as much because I've done all this work for this one time or this day or a few days. So I kind of feel like a little bit of like, I'm trying to think of a good word to
I mean,
describe it or expression,
I get
but
super
it's essentially
stressed.
not being in the moment. What?
I get super stressed.
You get stressed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I'm stressed, I get real snippy.
Yeah. I wouldn't say you probably, I can see that about you, getting a little snippy, a little sass, little, like,
Never.
little short. And mine's just like, it, again, this is making it sound really terrible. It's not because I do love the holidays. I love everything about it. Food, family time, gifts. I love it all. That it's almost like I've hyped it up in my mind and it doesn't quite live up to that expectation. Like something ends up happening and it's just not as like grand as it is in my mind. And it doesn't mean it's bad. It's just
Right.
that I'm like realizing more and more as we've like worked in the therapeutic day school, as worked like mental health, that staying in the moment, that like mindfulness. And I know it's kind of been like a buzzword for like quite a while.
Yeah.
And it's something that is really so simple in definition, but really difficult to practice.
Absolutely.
So it's like, how do you find ways to like stay present and stay in the moment during this like what is inevitably like a chaotic, stressful time?
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of it's just like that pausing. I mean, even just the other day, like we've still been getting over the different viruses that have been going around and just stopping what I'm doing, playing with the kids, enjoying their laughter. Right now, my older son is, painting with his grandmother. It's nice to like look at it through their eyes, especially now as they're like getting older and really starting to understand it more.
It's so true.
Um, Yeah, like my oldest had show and tell, and he brought some ornaments to show his friends at school. They're always looking for the elf.
Yeah. I think that like pausing and like it's okay to step back from like the list and everything that needs to get done and does get done. Like you said, like playing with them and laughing with them.
Well, and I think
And
one of the things that you remember most are just the memories that you have with your families.
yeah,
So, like, trying to really focus on, like, creating those memories for the kids.
totally. And I think that's why like I love the holidays because now looking back, like my parents, especially my mom, credit to her, um, did like an incredible job making Christmas magical.
And it doesn't have to
That
be mean like you buy every
no,
gift and things
oh,
like
not
that,
at
right? Like,
all. Right. Yes. We used to do these things called like pixie points that if like we were kind to like our siblings, then at the end of the week we got like a small little gift. Again, nothing huge, but like you said, it was like making those memories, feeling good, happy, reflecting on the holidays. And so I think that's just like my goal each year. And like you said, as the kids are getting older and like your oldest and my oldest, obviously the same age, and she, like you were saying, you just see this like spark of joy in her eyes as she's kind of getting what holidays are all about, what's coming
right.
up, what we get to do. I mean, we've been watching the Polar Bear Express almost every night. That's what she calls it.
We have not watched that with the kids this year. We watched the original Grinch, like the animated.
Oh, I put that on the other night because I love that
I
movie.
love it too. And my
Yes.
oldest was so freaked out by the Grinch.
That's not good.
Yeah, and then of course we had to go to Home Depot for something, and you know how Home Depot has like all of the outdoor holiday decorations,
Yeah. Oh, I'm
and
sure
some
they have
of
like
them,
huge inflatables of the Grinch.
yes, and it wasn't an inflatable, it was like one of the moving ones that like dances to music.
Oh
He
no.
legit was running through Home Depot screaming his
I'm
head
so
off, like
sorry.
out of complete terror. It was
Oh,
very entertaining
yeah, right.
for me.
I thought my daughter would not like the Polar Express. I think from my perspective as an adult, like the animation seems a little like strange. She loves it. And she was asking phenomenal questions throughout the entire movie. So we've watched that a lot. Again, like she likes to find her elf. They've been doing like these really fun like activities with gingerbread men at school. And so yeah, I think like just reminding myself of, like what's it all for
Yeah.
is really helpful. Um
We've been talking a
like
lot too about just like giving back. And so right now the kids are collecting some of their old toys that they don't play with to give to other kids that might not have any toys. So I think it's like that's one way to spend time together.
yeah.
Whether it's collecting toys, volunteering somewhere, even going to a pet shelter, right? And just snuggling
Oh,
with
so
the
true.
dogs and cats. But just a way to give back as a family is just another way to kind of lessen the demands or the stress of having to feel like you have to plan every single moment.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah, I think just trying to stay present and
Yeah.
if you have like, oh, now here's like my running to-do list. If you're out doing one of those things, like really trying to let those thoughts like fade away, like put a little pin in it, come back to it later. And when you're out doing one of those fun activities, like really being present, it'll make it more fun.
Yeah. And this is a great opportunity to practice gratitude, like we talked in a previous episode, right? Highlight what went well instead of highlighting, the massive meltdown that was probably inevitable
Right. Or
or
like what's still you have to do and all this stuff.
yeah.
Yeah. But speaking of meltdowns, I will say, as a parent, as former educator, you're in education still, the meltdowns during the holidays are inevitable. Like you said, they will happen. I found that while I loved when we were in the schools, like the week or so leading up to winter break, we would have like every classroom had like movies, parties, fun
Yeah.
things planned, different activities, all of which are fun. Great. I would say those times ended up being the most stressful, oftentimes where we would see like emotional outbursts, needing a lot of support. And when you think about it, yes, those are activities that are fun, but we were totally switching up schedules. We were throwing in
Yes.
new expectations. It was just a lot to manage. And it happened like daily, right? Like we were doing
Right.
like something fun and new every day. Um,
I think that's where people sometimes forget how much kids actually crave structure.
Yes, like the ability to plan ahead, think about what you're going to be doing, what are the expectations, who's going to be there, what's my role, what am I doing, what are the other people doing? That, yeah, like you said, structure, schedules are phenomenal.
Yeah.
As are all these fun activities, but I think as parents, it's so important to be flexible, recognize you might have to prepare your children a little bit more, even if you know that your kids are going to enjoy something, or you're doing something fun. It's just something that's out of their routine,
Right.
something that's different. So preparing them for where are you going? Who are you going to see? What are the expectations? Um, just so you don't have to, like we said, you're probably going to have a meltdown or two around the
Right.
holidays.
It
I mean,
maybe just
even as
won't be
adults, right? Like
right.
we feel stressed, we feel like overwhelmed, and granted, you're doing a lot of fun things, but it's
But
different. It's added to your regular like scheduled programming. So yeah.
and hopefully the meltdown won't be as massive or epic as it would have been had you not done all of that work to kind of prep them for what to expect.
Yeah. Like I know when we were at the school, there were so many times when we were working with our students on change and accepting change if things were different. And some things we could prepare kids for. Other times it was, there was an unexpected, let's say, fire drill that we didn't know was going to happen. So it was just, we couldn't prepare them the same way. But for a lot of these things for the holidays, I know on like my calendar, my mom came over the other day and she's like, "Oh my gosh, your December looks so busy." Like, yeah, it kind of is. Um, but we talk a lot, especially with our 4-year-old, about where are we going, who's going to be there, what are we going to do, and if she starts to feel like upset or starts to like feel frustrated, what can she do? Like things that she does here. Is there a spot that she can do them at, like somebody, like a friend's house, or like how
Yeah.
will she know if she needs space? And things like that. So
Well,
we
and
do
think
a
about
lot of talking about it.
the holidays are a time to spend with family and friends, right? But they may also be people that your kids don't get to see as often and may not be as familiar with. And that can be really overwhelming for our kids. So I think just like you said, of even prepping them of who's going to be there.
Yeah.
I like to highlight like what kids are going to be there so that they kind of can go in with the anticipation of there's maybe going to be some kids my age that I can play with, or there might not be kids my age, and here's what I can do if I um am feeling bored, which I think it's always okay to feel bored. It's a great opportunity to problem solve. Well, what can you do?
Yeah.
So that I don't have to feel like that cruise director all the time. Um,
Right.
but yeah.
I think too, for those pieces, if you can, it's helpful to find photos of family members or friends, especially like you said, if someone you haven't seen in a while. I mean,
Yes.
I have like family members that are coming in town for Christmas Eve, and it's been about a year since my kids have seen them. Um, and so I showed her pictures of like who we're going to see and their ages and things like that. But yeah, nice way to put like faces to a name
Mhm.
if you have them. And even like our 2-year-old, I'll be talking to him, obviously knowing that he's not grasping this information the same way, but he's part of our conversation. He's part of the group. So yeah, a lot of talking about what's coming up. And I don't know about for your kids, um, my kids too, if like my husband and I have been going out to like a couple holiday parties, about talking about who's going to be at our house, putting them
Yep.
to bed, what's going to be the same, what's going to be different. Um, So like that piece too. So it's like, yes, we're going to go do fun things together as a family, but there's also nights when mom and dad are not going to be home to put you to bed and do that regular routine.
Right.
But yeah, change is hard. So again, like I always found that like, yes, the week before any kind of like holiday break would be a lot of fun. And it was. There were a lot of good times, but it also was a time where kids struggled. So again, as a parent, reminding yourself that it's okay, that it's probably going to happen. How can you be models of flexibility? How can you be models of like taking those deep breaths, doing that like self-talk,
The
like
self-regulation.
the self-regulation. And what are you going to do? How are you going to take a break or something like that? Or what's something you are looking forward to as the adult going to all these things, right? Like sometimes you got to
What's that
gear
like
yourself up. You got to hype
ray
yourself
of
up.
ray of sunshine that you have to look forward
Yeah.
to?
Yeah, like a positive thing. And then afterwards doing a little bit of like a debrief, like even on a drive home, like what did you enjoy? Who did we see there? What did we eat? Things like that. Oh, that's like another piece, like food.
Oh, yes. I
I
can't
mean,
wait.
again, like love the menu that we got coming up for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day and like my family Hanukkah party. So excited. But it's also like my kids are good eaters. I would say they're not great eaters. So like it's okay to like have some new foods on your plate. And if you want to try them, great. If not, they're just gonna be there. Um
My kids will spot all of the cookie jars in everyone's homes.
right? Like the great desserts. I feel like at least if you get through dinner, you can know that there's some fantastic desserts on the way.
Yeah.
Um, but that's another piece that I feel like you might not think about of like, oh, we're not going to be having the same kind of food that we typically do for dinner time or breakfast or whatever. Um, so yeah, I think is doing as much talking about what's coming up, preparing them for change. And I said it before, but like talking about what's going to be the same, what's different, what can you look forward to,
I
what are
don't
their
think there's
expectations?
I don't think there's such a thing as over preparing a kid for that kind of stuff. Like
No, I don't.
prepare, prepare, prepare.
Yeah, and I think it can also be you're preparing them and telling them, if it doesn't go exactly how we're talking about it, that's okay. We're going to be
Yeah.
flexible. Like if you think you're going to, again, as kids are older too, like I know like what kids are asking for Santa or from Santa, I mean. There's a lot of expectations around toys and gifts and what are you getting? So you could be talking about if you get something that maybe you don't love, you can still say thank you. Like you can practice opening a gift and being grateful for it and kind of doing that routine.
Yeah.
Um, so again, yeah, like you said, preparing them with the caveat of like, we're going to have to be flexible with things.
Things are not going to go perfectly to plan
Yeah.
for any of us. And that's okay.
Yeah. And then you said, find that ray of sunshine, finding that like piece of positive, a fun thing or something that went well and focusing on that throughout the
And
holidays.
enjoy
I think that,
and
yeah,
enjoying the time with your family.
I know. Yeah. I think that it is so key. We've talked about it before. Brain has such a natural way of tricking us into like thinking about and focusing on the negative of
Yep.
like what didn't go well, what's not happening, that to find those positive pieces will also help you stay present in what's going on
And in the moment.
and
Yep.
and in the moment. Yeah, for sure. So like I said, I hope that you guys can think about ways to prepare your kids and just know, like we said, schedules are off, things are okay, and it's gonna be great because it's a great time of year.
It is. We wish everyone a happy holidays, a wonderful new year, and enjoy this extra time that you get with your families. Thanks so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To catch all of the latest, you can follow us on Instagram @_and then we had kids. Thanks again, and like we say, life used to be carefree, and then we had kids.